All right, welcome back, everybody. I continue with my guest, Sammy the Bull Gravano. Sammy, we see a lot of polarization in America today, politically and so forth. One of the solutions being put forth is to defund police forces in select cities. I can think of no more expert resource to speak to than you. In terms of what is your thoughts on the defunding of America's police forces? Good thing, bad thing? What sort of effect do you think it may have on law enforcement or crime in those particular cities?
I think we're already seeing it. I think it's a ridiculous thing. Cops are important. If you don't have authority, you don't have rules, you don't have punishment, you get anarchy. You get people committing crimes without fear. You see it in the news all the time, in a lot of the cities, that crime is completely doubled and tripled. And they're still talking about defunding police. I look at home and I'll sit next to a friend of mine who's up in age, or my ex-wife, or somebody, and I could only imagine them getting a heart attack. Who would I call? A social worker? Of course I would call the police. So I'm obviously a gangster. So you can't consider me a cop lover. But the real side is that we need them. They're hardworking people. They run into fires along with firemen. I remember the Twin Towers went down, and I don't remember how many police died. They ran into these buildings to save people. What would have happened if we didn't have police? I mean, how many more people would have died that day? And so many different incidents. Highway accident, something goes on. It's ridiculous. I don't fully understand the motivation to defund police. Now, of course, like any organization, has bad apples. Now, the minute I saw that cop with his knee on, I forgot the guy's
George
name.
Floyd.
George Floyd.
Yeah.
On his neck, I turned around. The person who was sitting next to me, I said, this guy's dead. What he did is not the proper thing.
Yeah.
He had the guy down. That's it. Put him in a police car, cuff him up. I got arrested a bunch of times in my life. That's what you do. If I was one of the 3 cops who were there and watched it, they should have pulled out a gun and pointed it at the cop and said, get your knee off of his neck or I will shoot you. That's being a cop, a good cop, an honest cop.
Yeah. All right.
They would have became a hero to say that or do that.
That's right. I agree.
But they didn't, and it caused havoc all over the place. And I really think they used that situation to an extreme, to their own advantage, to get things, to loot, to riot. Listen, the guy was wrong. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew it, whether you were black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It didn't matter. It had nothing to do with color. It had to do with a bad cop doing a bad thing.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And I appreciate your input because I think your opinion on this is valuable for the American people to hear. Let's shift gears here. Let's go out through history. President John F. Kennedy. There's all sorts of rumors out there. There's the lone assassin with a single bullet. There's Russian interference. And then there's the rumor, and it was shown in the movie The Irishman, that this was the CIA and the mafia working together to take out a president who did not meet the U.S. government's agenda. Do you have any insight as to who killed President Kennedy?
I don't know personally who killed him. I took no part in it. I was a kid. But through the years, I heard that Everybody took part in it. John F. Kennedy was a decent person. His father was a bootlegger, and he was a decent president. If you ever saw a rigged election, I think that one was. I know as a kid, we ran around with signs. Hollywood was on his side, Frank Sinatra and all of them. There's many, many stories. Some of them have evidence of being truthful. But Bobby Kennedy, when he got in, all the promises that the father and John Kennedy made, he reneged on. And he was hurting people. It wasn't just the mafia. It was the unions with Jimmy Hoffa. He had a thing for Jimmy Hoffa. The head of the director of the FBI, Hoover, with him. Johnson, the CIA. So everybody hated him. Not him, but Bobby Kennedy.
The Attorney
The
General.
Italians have an expression. You cut the head off of the fish and the tail dies. Now, maybe they did that. Maybe they said, if he's out of the way, he didn't live up to his promises, we get rid of him and Bobby's finished. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I remember when I cooperated, the FBI came in to talk to me about this. And they said, the FBI who was around me every day, they said some heavyweights are going to come down and talk to you. I said, okay. They came in and they said, Sammy, we want to talk to you about Kennedy. Similar question that you asked. What do you know about it? I said, you guys came here to ask me that question? From what I heard, it had something to do with Hoffa, it had something to do with the mafia, and it had something to do with you guys. A mafia guy wasn't on the grassy knoll, that's for sure. I know who shot out of the window. Isn't it amazing? Days later, he's killed in a police station.
Yeah.
So you can't make this shit up. The FBI that came down said, hold up, stop, meeting over, get rid of all these notes.
Whoa.
And that was it. So they never talked to me about him again. And again, everything I'm saying is unofficial because I have no personal knowledge. My mentor, Tato Arello, told me that we were all involved. So
All right.
whatever that meant, I don't know.
All right. We're all involved. Okay. Sammy, we'd like to hold you over for one more segment and talk about your podcast if we can. We'll take a quick break here. We're back with more on Sammy the Bull Gravano. We'll find out what his podcast is all about. It's called Our Thing. But that's quite insightful what you said, Sammy. As you said, you don't have direct knowledge, but you've heard stories through your circle through the years, and the FBI even questioned you and then shut it down. We're back after this.